Um, well, I'm back on stage, and I have to stay on stage because I get the privilege of being with my colleagues here on stage from NFT Cred. Let me introduce Cameron Bale and Michael Battaglia. Cameron's the co-founder of NFT NYC and London, and Michael is our star enterprise customer success director at NFT Cred. And I'm Quinn Button, VP of growth of NFT Cred. We are going to chat about where we're up to with brands from the NFT Cred standpoint, don't you think?
Thank you, Quinn. Great intro. So, like Quinn said, I'm Cameron Bale. I'm the Director of Marketing and Product Development for a brand called NFT Cred. I'll give you a little bit of background in a moment about who we are. It looks like our deck's not coming up, but maybe someone can help with that. Anyway, so the long story about NFT NYC and how we got here, let's start with that. So back in 2009, we started building white label social platforms for brands. And what we saw was that brands had a community, brands had IP, and social platforms were becoming intermediaries that were getting in between them and their audience. And so brands were coming to us and they were asking us to help them build a way that they could directly communicate with their audience. And so we were building them social apps. It was mainly for institutions like universities or US government, things like that. And then what we learned was that these brands really wanted a direct way to communicate with their audience. And so in 2017, when we learned about this idea of registering digital assets, we thought that that's a really great opportunity for these guys to build a direct relationship with their communities. You know, they have the IP, they have the audience, and this is a way that they can engage with those people without an intermediary, just like they did on social, where Facebook, for example, if you had 1 million followers on your page, would later charge you to actually reach those people. So you wouldn't end up in their newsfeed unless you paid them. And so we sort of changed our approach. We evolved from creating social experiences to creating NFT experiences. And that was in 2018, and no one cared. We went to crypto conferences, we went to blockchain shows, we went to things like conferences for brands, and it sort of fell on dead ears. It was too early, and everyone at the crypto conferences was getting very excited about ICOs. They were all making money off ICOs, and the common thing that people would say was, why would I want something that's non-fungible? And so we sort of thought, well, there's us, there was the guys from OpenSea, there was some artists, maybe a couple of gamers, and we thought, why don't we host an event that's just for us? And so that's how NFT NYC was born. The first one, oh, here we go. We've got a deck now. I'll zip through this for you. So social. So then something happened in 2018. It was awesome. It was NFTs. We've been having this sort of challenge for a long time about how do we communicate the value of NFTs for brands. And so this presentation really talks us through like the messaging that we have, how we explain to a brand why this is important for them. So put it simply, NFTs, we describe them as a medium for sharing digital content. It sounds pretty familiar for a lot of people. They've been around for a long time. That's not new. But what makes these things special? Like, they only have as much value as you put into them. So, a disc, a CD may only have value if it has your favorite album on it, or family photos, or a movie on a DVD, or maybe the title to your home if it was a document. But there's a big difference, as we all know, with the blockchain that proves actual ownership of these things. So digital ownership, transparency, immutability, and tradability are the things that make this really special with NFTs. So the story that we have to tell, the job that we have, is to explain to brands why this matters to them. And one of the things that I think most people in this room understand is that communities, the groups that we used to have on social, our followers on Facebook, for example, they're now tribes. They're now identifying themselves with the things that they care about and being a part of something. So this is me on Twitter now. I have a doodle. I think lots of you probably have something, and many of you probably have that thing as your avatar. And the reason is that people want to identify and be a part of something. So our customers, as brands, our customers are now ambassadors. It's like someone walking around with a Nike shirt, having a big tick on the front. They're an ambassador for your brand. Now people are doing that on social and everywhere that they go. So something happened a few years ago. The world woke up to NFTs. Like I said, for NFT NYC, we sort of started out. It was more of a meetup the first 2 years. We had about 400, 500 people. And then in 2021, something great happened where someone spent $69 million on an NFT. And of course, that was the cheapest publicity stunt for the NFT space that we could have all wished for. And everyone learned that these things actually have value. So in 2021, we saw great growth at NFT NYC. And then earlier in June this year, we saw over 16,000 attendees. But the thing that got us really excited was the brands. So brands are actually listening now. These are some of the brands that came to NFT NYC in June. And I think, Quinn, you've been hosting a bunch of them on this stage today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've heard from Tom over at McLaren. We heard from Asprey here today as well. We had Calvin Klein, and we really have a lot of brands here who are in stealth mode. Just wanting to be here to learn, and I think that's really something that we'll talk about. It's certainly the time of education, right? We're really trying to help brands understand what the potential is in this space right now in this builder economy, where we're really building and we're not just selling NFTs for a lot of money. It's really, this is something interesting. I mean, if you think the digital marketing strategies of these brands have not changed for 5 years, right? They're all still posting on Instagram and on social media and doing email marketing. And they all want to be thinking outside the box and reach those KPIs. But how do they do it? Well, that's where we come in and we start talking to them about how to use NFTs and how to create NFT experiences for their audiences, for their customers, that it's meaningful and authentic. And we'll go through all of the different tips that we like to share with our brands as well.
Cool. So since that time, since we sort of came out of the closet in 2018 and launched this platform, we've done about 20 million NFTs for brands. We're currently minting about 1 million a week for brands. And those are actually being distributed to their existing audiences, which is really exciting for us. So like Quinn mentioned, we're going to run through 5 different brand NFT campaigns and talk about sort of what we're doing with them and why we think that brands need to pay attention to this space. So I think the overall thing that we want to show people and show brands is that NFTs are not just about putting something up for sale and making money off it. We really measure the success of our brand campaigns with engagement. So what was the goal? How does it fit into their existing strategy? And what was the engagement that we created with NFTs that they couldn't have otherwise done? So one of the great campaigns that we did recently was with Coach. Anyone in the audience have a Coach handbag? I know at least one person does.
Yeah, right there.
The first campaign that we did with them, it's kind of quirky. They did a game to celebrate their holiday collection, which had these characters in it. And so their goal was really to create buzz around that social holiday campaign. They wanted to look like a philanthropic brand that was giving back to the community. And so we gave away NFTs for free. So over 8 days, there was a really limited edition number of NFTs that were available. They were all claimed within seconds each day. And later on, we sort of did a surprise and delight moment by telling everyone that had one that they could redeem it for a free $2,000 made-to-order handbag. So that was quite exciting for the people that are interested in Coach.
Yeah, it was great. They did an additional campaign after the great success of the first one, where they got all this engagement on social. The community claimed their free handbag, and then they launched this second collection to incentivize their customers to sign up for their insider program. So really, in regards to the first campaign that they did, they got this brand loyalty, they get continued engagement on social, and the fans really loved it.
Yeah, that quote, so they came to us at first and they said, our big goal is to increase loyalty. And there was this quote from someone that they tweeted actually after getting one of these NFTs, and they said, I've been a loyal customer for so long, and this has just increased my loyalty and trust in the brand. Quinn, do you want to talk about this second one?
Yeah, well, and that's what Michael was alluding to. And what's interesting is we're finding, what we do is we're helping these brands do not just phase 1, but phase 2, phase 3. It's a really thoughtful process. And so the phase 1 was the holiday campaign, and they wanted to, make sure that their customers were onboarded in a familiar environment that looked like their brand. It looked like their website, and all they had to do was sign up with an email and a password, and boom, they could collect the NFTs. So once they started showing their customers how easy it was, they went into the second campaign. And the goal here was really to encourage fans to join their insider program. So get their most loyal fans into a program and reward their most loyal fans. I mean, all of us in the Web3 space know this as like an allow list. We are in, the Discord channels that is token gated, right? So the objective was really to reward loyalty. And we saw it really be a powerful way for Coach to not only engage with those most loyal customers and to identify them, but also to highlight and dig into their heritage and bring their heritage brand, highlight their 1941 heritage, or they started in 1941, and featuring an iconic 1986 Madison satchel, handbag and bring it to a new generation who had never heard about it before, right? And it sold out in minutes. And they launched this at NFT NYC, and we were so excited. Cameron, you were actually on stage with Renee
Yeah,
as they were launching it, and she said, this has literally been the most enjoyable project of my professional career. And we see this a lot within brands, especially like a traditional company like Coach. You have one renegade driving force, someone in the space who really wants to get this done and is curious about experimenting, and it's about finding the right partners to make that happen.
Yeah, I think for us, for a long time, we thought that NFTs were sort of like a hammer looking for a nail. It was like, we're all technologists, we get excited about it, we sort of get it in one way or another. And as soon as we can sort of show brands that have this audience that they can overlay this technology onto, how they can use it, they sort of often have this aha moment of like, oh my God, I can do this and that works. And that, creates this feeling among these people that like my brand. And then it creates a great response, not only for the brand themselves, but for their community. And that seems to continue as they drive forward into secondary campaigns.
Yeah, and the next one we're going to talk about is PwC, and exactly what Michael and Cameron were both alluding to. Really, it's about NFTs compare with what they're already doing. This is something that they can actually think through, and it's not this vague, theoretical, weird thing that might be a rug pull. It's really something that, what are your KPIs, what are you doing now, and how can NFTs enhance what you're already doing? And so with PwC, we really dug in. We worked with their events company, or their events division, to really reward attendees. So they hosted one event that was, for their top clients and partners, and they brought them all to an area where they could learn more about the latest tech. It was called the Emerging Tech Exchange. And so they wanted NFTs to be a part of that experience. And so we built out a campaign where we said, okay, well, what are you doing throughout the whole week? And this is very much something that we're doing here at NFT London as well. Let's make NFTs for people to engage with, really, right off the bat. And so we use gamification to not only, it paired with the activities that were already happening, and it gave them the hands-on experience. I mean, these guys were like the C-suite executives of major brands that you guys know, and they finally got to actually see it in their hand, how easy it was to actually start engaging with NFTs. And so education was a huge part of that, and PwC is really positioning themselves to be that source of education for their clients and customers right now and into the future.
Yeah, when we first organized NFT NYC, the first one in 2019, we thought, how can we, there's this expression of eat your own dog food. How can we use NFTs at this event to make it a better experience for the attendees, for the sponsors, for the speakers? And so the first thing that we did was called the NFT swag bag. Everyone should have received an email about it today, so please check your email and click some buttons and claim some free NFTs. But basically, what we learned was that we could help the attendees of a physical event engage with the sponsors, connect with the speakers, and earn rewards, basically, with NFTs. And so that's exactly what we did, or what Quinn did with PwC at this physical event. And the great thing about it was 50 CEOs received their first NFT. And so when we think about how we can proselytize NFTs to the broader community and get more people in the world, using this technology and normalize it and have that sort of rising tide that lifts all ships, top-down entry into these types of organizations is really valuable. And so getting their hands dirty was a really great way for us to sort of help these bigger organizations learn about NFTs. This is Matt. He's the Web3 and digital asset strategy lead for PwC, and he spoke about this at NFT NYC in June as well. And he's saying exactly what we think, which is that it's all about education, and it's not only like the people here on the stage talking to the NFT community, but how can we get people to talk about NFTs at events and through education where people are not there explicitly to learn about NFTs.
Yeah, I think exactly what PwC did was what SAP did, and for them, it was not just advertising and educating their clients about NFTs, but it was sharing NFTs with internal employees. So what SAP did is they had won an award for a line of business to commemorate that achievement. Rather than a physical asset just sitting on somebody's desk collecting dust, they fractionalized it and gave it out to all the employees that participated and made that award possible. And as in this case with those CEOs, it was the first NFT that those employees had received previously, and it started them down their journey into NFTs and Web3.
And that was like 2,000 employees.
Yes.
So there was a department that earned this award, but there was 2,000 people that participated and contributed to earning that award. And so the idea of sort of fractionalizing that and sharing it with all of those attendees was really interesting. But the next thing that you did with it was great.
Yeah, not only did they get to receive the NFT and get to collect that asset, but they shared it on social media. So what we had was a tie into LinkedIn so that they can share it and add it under their certifications and license section. Not only does that create engagement for SAP, but it allows those employees, if they do move on, to have that asset as part of their LinkedIn collection.
Anyone here that's a speaker, you may have seen that we've minted speaker card NFTs for every speaker. Very similar to this, they will act as a verifiable credential that you actually spoke at an NFT London event. So basically following the event, you'll receive an email very similar to what I think is on the next slide, which will show you your NFT with a button that says add to LinkedIn. And it's really simple. In one click, you can add this as a certificate on your LinkedIn profile, and it links back to the NFT that verifies that you actually did this thing that you're claiming to have done.
And what's interesting too is, of course, this was all in a white label experience, so it looks like SAP. And so when people click on that credential on LinkedIn, it goes to that NFT, and you can dig into Polygon Scan or wherever, and you can actually see that the smart contract was created by SAP. So it's really verified credential, and I think we're going to see a lot of that. And one thing that we were talking about earlier with Tom at McLaren, and we see this a lot with brands, is it's difficult to internalize, especially with a large enterprise client. And that's really where we saw, after NFT NYC, we shared this, Nicole actually joined us at NFT NYC last year as well. Or not last year, it was in June, yeah, just a couple months ago. And we had a huge amount of interest from large brands that I probably can't say right now, but who said that's what we want to do. That's how we start. We start by showing our employees, we start by showing internally how this works with a small internal campaign, show the utility of just verifiable credentials on LinkedIn. SAP is all about HR and employees. All works in terms of what their values are. It's a very authentic internal campaign, and it was hugely successful for SAP. They're now starting to really think about verifiable credentials and the blockchain. So Nicole was one of those renegade driving forces within SAP who really wanted to do it, and we worked through and made it as successful as possible.
Awesome. So then there's some other sort of industry use cases. So we've been really interested in how big brands are using NFTs in authentic ways to reach their audience. So back to that point, we don't want to just continue seeing brands flipping things and trying to make a dollar. But one really interesting one has been Live Nation. So Live Nation, we probably all have heard of them. Maybe they're very big in the US, at least. They're one of the biggest ticketing live entertainment companies in the world. They have been creating commemorative stubs, just like many of you received today for attending NFT London. These are for all of the concerts that they're doing. And there's something really interesting about delivering these tickets to their attendees. It's that it's actually creating a community. So just by someone having a ticket to an Incubus concert, they can be part of this Incubus community of fans who are interested in that same group. Michael Rapino, he's the CEO of Live Nation. He's actually raised this, I think, in the last 3 or 4 earnings calls, which is really great because it's showing how these major players in entertainment are thinking about how they can disrupt their industries with NFTs. Ticketmaster is related to Live Nation, and they're doing a similar thing where they're commemorating live moments. So many of you have probably seen Top Shot, where you can get moments in basketball, and they're doing a similar thing with the NFL. This was a ticket that they created for the Super Bowl this year, where every attendee actually got a personalized NFT that had their seat, their row, all the details of their actual ticket, but in a virtual collectible that they could keep forever. Layering on top of that engagement, going back to where we started, they actually turned this into sort of a collectible experience. So by having the Super Bowl ticket, you could then go and collect these various other collectibles from your favorite teams. And this is a really nice quote from Brendan Lynch, the global EVP at Ticketmaster. He joined us at NFT NYC in June as well, at Radio City, and he talked about remembering the times you had with your friends, and that's what it's all about for them. So we're going to wrap up in a sec. As we do, these are the sort of 5 very simple things that we like to sort of preach to the brands that we talk to. The question is often, what do we do to make this successful? And we believe that the answer is not always dollars. We believe that the answer is engagement. And so the things that we talk about are authenticity. So using that Live Nation example again, Live Nation is a live entertainment and ticketing company. So them creating something that's tied into the experience that people expect from them makes a lot of sense. It's not just about creating digital artwork. It's not just about flipping collectibles or anything like that, but they tie it into the exact experience that people expect.
It's also all about accessibility, right? We're in this time where we really need to help make the friction go away within Web3. We want to onboard mainstream users, and how do we do that? And I've heard some really fantastic conversations about this. But what we say is on NFT credits, since it's been around since 2017, 2018. It's been battle tested and really thought through. Since then, we're wanting to meet fans where they are. Simple onboarding. Connect with, get your first wallet by just signing up with an email and a password, and an account or a wallet is instantly attached to the account. Or doing an integration with Twitter where you just sign up with a Twitter account, or Google, or your own OAuth integration, right? So if you're on Spotify, you have your own Spotify account, you can just instantly sign in and you can start collecting NFTs. And we are blockchain agnostic as well. So it's really just trying to make almost, I think I've heard it several times this morning actually, where we're going to maybe go into the next phase where people aren't even going to know they're using NFTs, but they're using NFTs, right? And this is where it starts, is really just accessibility and familiarity with payment.
Yeah, it's not just sign in, but also when you're listing NFTs for sale or allowing your fans to claim NFTs and then resell them, you want to have a familiar payment processor. Not everybody is going to have crypto in a wallet, or not everybody's going to even have a wallet. So allowing them to interact with NFTs and trade NFTs with other community members through payment processors that they're familiar with. So we have integrated with PayPal, and Stripe allows us to do credit card and Google Pay and Apple Pay sales as well.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if anyone's had this experience, but it can be terrifying if you think, oh my God, I think I just sent crypto to the wrong place. I might never get it back. So giving people that comfort when they pay, when they pull out their credit card, when they want to actually spend their hard-earned money, we have found that that's a really nice, easy way to onboard mainstream audiences to NFTs. Sustainability is a big one. We've got Polygon on here. There are a handful of blockchains that are doing this now, but Polygon made a commitment earlier this year to be carbon negative by the end of this year. So using proof of stake chains, ETH 2.0, for example, we're finding that this is sort of alleviating some of the negativity and some of the stress around NFTs that some people feel when they hear, bad press or things like that. So there are solutions for this.
Yeah, it also aligns very much with a lot of the brand's corporate values, right, and corporate commitments towards sustainability as well.
Connectivity. This one's a little bit out of the blue for this audience, but earlier this year we went to a conference called Inbound. Does anyone in the audience know what HubSpot is? Yes, there are some yeses, thank you. So HubSpot hosts an annual event called Inbound, and it's all about inbound marketing. Inbound marketing is, comparative to outbound marketing. Outbound marketing is where you get spammed with emails. Inbound marketing is where your customers come to you. And basically what HubSpot has done is built a system very similar to Salesforce or another platform like that, where you can bring in your customers into a CRM. You can engage them with marketing automations and things like that. But one of the things that we worked on earlier this year, which we announced at Inbound, was that we have activated a HubSpot integration for NFTs. You might be wondering why, but if you're a brand, it is really not very helpful just to see a wallet address sometimes. Just to have a list of wallet addresses that did something doesn't necessarily tell you a lot about your customers, and it surely makes it difficult to reach out to them. So the HubSpot integration that we've worked on basically will allow a brand to see who claimed one of my NFTs, who bought one of my NFTs, who commented, who liked, who engaged with any of these NFTs that I've created, and then enroll those people into marketing automations from there on. So how do we re-engage those people? What do we want to offer them to move them further down the marketing funnel? So we believe that NFTs will disrupt the marketing and engagement strategies of brands, whether they know it or not. I think it was Quinn that said this earlier, that one day NFTs will just be there and we won't even know about it. They'll be under the hood. We like to ask people which industries we believe will get disrupted by NFTs, and I think that NFTs will just disrupt themselves by disappearing under the hood. We'll all be using them. We won't all know about it, but we're really excited to work with brands. We have a guest.
Yes, I'm not supposed to be here. I'd just like to acknowledge you three. That was an amazing presentation, and I've been working with these guys for many, many years. Cameron for over 10 years. Michael feels like 10 years. And we're so lucky to have these three individuals who have spoken to hundreds and hundreds of brands about NFTs, talking to us about what they've done. So big thank you to all three of you. Michael's an engineer, comes with engineering discipline. Cameron's a designer and a marketer. And Quinn, you're just an overall amazing relationship and business development and campaign person. So big thank you to all of you. And I think you'll all be available to chat with some of our guests later on.
Would love to.
I know you're the MC, so I thought I should jump on and be your MC. No, I think we've had a huge day. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, yes, thank you so much. Thank you guys for joining me. Give them a round of applause.